Chapter 25. Captivity. Fina strained against her restraints for the third time. Her wrists chafed raw despite the rope's silken texture. They responded to her thoughts, soft and pliable until she so much as imagined slipping free, then tightened like shackles forged from iron. Panic simmered beneath her skin. Each step she took beside the silent, elven guards only amplified the drumbeat of her pulse. She did not know where they were taking her, no idea what awaited her. Roughly 20 minutes after the ambush, they had removed her blindfold and gag, but the silence remained more oppressive than any cloth. Every question she asked, why they were prisoners, what they wanted, met only blank, impassive stares. Her words might as well have been wind through the trees. From the corner of her eye, she caught a glimpse of Narrated, bound like her and walking at the rear. That she, too, was a prisoner should have offered some strange comfort. Instead, it sank like a stone in Fina's stomach. If even Narrated wasn't in control, then they were truly at the mercy of forces they did not understand. And then they entered a village. Nestled in a cradle of golden-barked trees, the place looked as though it had been painted from some enchanted storybook. The houses, modest in shape, but impossibly elegant, gleamed with pale stone walls etched in curling gilded patterns. Flaming birds in flight, vines in bloom, sunlight through tall stained glass windows spilled fractured crimson of gold into the cobbled paths. The gardens brimmed with violet and amber blossoms, their glow faint and unearthly, like moonlight trapped in petals. Sweet, heady perfume hung in the air, soothing and strange, almost enough to make her forget the dread curling in her chest. Almost. It should have been wondrous. It should have made her breath catch in awe. But instead, all of it felt like a cruel illusion, a dream she could not step into. She was only passing through, unseen, unheard, shackled and afraid. The village's beauty made her captivity feel more surreal and more terrifying. Whatever world she had stepped into, she was no guest. She was a trespasser, or worse, prey. Past the village, they came upon a serene lake with dense trees surrounding it. One of the guards sneaked a curious glance her way. She seized the opportunity. "Any chance you let slip where you are taking me?" she began, one eyebrow raised. "Your colleagues earlier was quite the silent type, ignoring all my attempts at prying. Perhaps you are more social." "I see," she sighed, rolling her eyes when the elf merely gazed into the distance, seemingly aloof. "Light. I hope Ghalen and Haldor are safe." They had chosen a rock formation near the lake for a break. Though she did not comprehend their language, Fina grasped their intent when a hand was thrust in front of her face, signaling her to halt. Then a pointed finger directing her towards the rocks. As she settled, she readied herself to coax words out of them once more. However, before she could form a sentence, one of the guards appeared in front of her. He handed her a piece of bread and said in passable common, "Eat. You will stay silent until you stand before the council, human." She thought she detected a hint of disdain in his voice. "So, you oafs do understand me," she muttered. The elf shot her a questioning glance, and she lifted her hands in mock surrender. "Silent as the grave. Sorry." The other elves continued their conversation. The forest and lake were the epitome of tranquility. She decided to try the elvish bread. Her mouth watered as she brought it closer, captivated by its aroma. It smelled as though it had just come fresh from the oven. To her surprise, it tasted just as fresh. One of the elves halted mid-sentence, eyes darting toward the forest's edge. As Fina ate, a noise broke through the calm of the valley. She looked around, trying to find its source. From the dense foliage, a white mare burst forth, ridden by a tall blonde elf, bearing down on them with thunderous hooves. The elves swiftly rose to form a protective line, but their stance didn't appear aggressive enough to signal an impending fight. As the rider drew closer, Fina recognized him, a high elf who had been present during her capture. She had presumed him to be their leader, given how the others constantly sought his confirmation. He launched from the saddle, sparing her only a glance before addressing his kin. He asked them something in a stern voice, prompting the other elves to cast puzzled glances toward her and Narrated. His gaze settled on Fina, who had dropped her bread in the chaos. He spoke with an authority that left no room for dissent. "You are coming with me, human." His brows and mouth were set in a frown that warned against objection. The other elves exchanged uneasy looks, and one stepped between her and the golden-haired elf. The elf leader's stance grew more imposing as he cut her off when she tried to speak. "Veneth non micum." If I didn't know better, I'd say they're on the verge of fighting. 3 guards unsheathed their weapons, and Fina tensed. The golden-haired elf drew his shimmering greatsword. Ignosus amissis. Then he lunged. G. Back at the side of the road, Lytheria was mumbling in a feverish haze. The elves surrounded her. One gently held her hand, lips moving in what seemed to be a prayer, while the other 2 fixed their eyes on Ghalen and Haldor. After what felt like an eternity of the elves only watching them, speaking amongst themselves in Elvish, one guard finally uttered in common. "How long have you known her, human?" Ghalen was caught off guard by something he could finally understand, but Haldor was quick to answer.
"She's been an ally for a few months. Before that, she fought for our enemy. She was enslaved by their dark masters, cursed by one of those damned blades, haunting us with those blue eyes."
The guards exchanged glances, reverting to their elvish tongue for a brief, whispering in discussion. Then they all looked at him in disbelief. So it really was a domination blade, one said, mouth in a tight line. "Are your people fighting the Darkhoon then?" Another asked. Ghalen shook his head.
"It was her theory."
Ghalen pointed at Lytheria.
"That the Elgarect people were deceived, and given Dakun weapons for some dark purpose."
When they looked back, their demeanor had softened, if only just. That would be a horrible crime. Humans should be kept from magic, especially dark magic. Ghalen clenched his jaw tight.
"Human. You say it like something you detest. What has my kind done to earn your hatred?"
The tallest elf, his red hair gleaming in the firelight, raised an eyebrow. "What have you done? Nothing, really. You are but short-lived creatures, flitting about like mayflies. Do you expect the same respect we offer the ancient trees? Do stray dogs demand respect from you?" Haldor scoffed.
"Stray dogs? You deem us beneath trees?"
Ghalen placed a calming hand on his shoulder.
"Leave it, Haldor. We won't win this argument with pride."
He turned back to the elf, his gaze steady.
"We only seek understanding. We come in peace, and we only ask for a chance to—"
The elf cut him off. "Peace? You humans and your empty words. What do you know of peace except for the fleeting moments before the next storm? All your decisions are rash, and in the end, the war is all your kind know." The elves' ears twitched, their attention snapping toward the direction where Elion had vanished. Moments later, Haldor and Ghalen heard the rhythmic pounding of hooves against the earth. Elion emerged in the distance, riding toward them. As he drew nearer, they saw someone perched behind him on the saddle, with Nellerith following closely on a separate steed, her hands still bound. Barely waiting for his horse to stop, Elion leapt from the saddle, sweeping Fina off the horse as though performing a choreographed dance. Fina let out a yelp, her cheeks flushing. Ghalen and Haldor rushed forward, embracing her.
"Fina! I thought we had lost you!"
Ghalen blurted out. Fina rolled her eyes, curving her lips. "You won't get rid of me that easily, boy," she retorted. Elion's stern voice shattered the reunion. "You will heal Lytheria, human, and you will do it now." At that moment, Ghalen noticed blood oozing down Elion's arm. He shivered.
"I wonder what monster was able to wound that one. I sure wouldn't want to face it,"
he whispered to Haldor. Fina pushed Ghalen aside and rushed to Lytheria's side. The surrounding elven guards retreated cautiously at Elion's command. Fina sank to her knees beside Lytheria, her hands gently caressing her forehead. "My poor Lily," she whispered, before launching into her incantations. As Lytheria's breathing steadied from Fina's healing, the beads of sweat ceased to form on her forehead. Fina reached into her pouch. She pulled out some leaves, crushing them, and held them under Lytheria's nose for her to inhale. Pivoting toward the onlookers, Fina demanded, "I need to brew tea from these leaves. Boil some water on the fire. Now, damn you!" Her command startled even the elves, and for a fleeting moment, It seemed everyone united in a sudden flurry of activity. Once Lytheria was safely tucked in under some blankets to the side for rest, Fina rejoined the others who had sat down under the flame-lit circle designated for brewing the tea. Lytheria will recover, but it may take several hours for her to wake. The fevers are getting worse, and I reached her later than I would have liked. She sat and sighed. Elion took Fina's hands in his own, his voice devoid of its earlier bitterness. Thank you, priestess. Truly, thank you.